You do not drown by falling into water. You drown by staying there. When going through hell, keep going. One of the greatest plagues we have as humans right now is we're looking back on our past and we're letting our past dictate our future. We are actively inhibiting ourselves from growing because of something our parents did to us when we were younger, from something a stranger said to us when we were younger, from something that happened 10, 15, 20, maybe even 40 years ago. We are carrying it along and forcing ourselves to realize it over and over and over again. Somebody called you ugly like 20 years ago, and you're still basing your life off of that. 20 years ago, you got called that. 20 years ago, you got made fun of. 20 years ago, you failed at something, and you're the one still dragging it along. Something that living here, being where your feet are at, will not allow. If you are not where your feet are out, if you are thinking for the future, you will always get anxiety because you're trying to control something you can't control. You don't know what's going to happen at the end of this day, let alone in 10 years and 15 years. And something that I've been noticing lately is when I think about my finances, God told me to quit my job. God told me to focus on this. God told me to do A, X, and Z. X, Y, and Z. I don't know why I said A, X, and Z. Whatever. And what I was trying to do then is I was trying to focus nearly a year in the future. I was calculating expenses. I was calculating retirement funds. I was calculating what I got in crypto. All of this nonsense because I thought I could somehow be able to manage a year in the future, and I didn't even know what I was going to do for the rest of the day. You know, you cannot fix the future, but you can fix yourself right now. You cannot fix the past, but you can fix yourself right now. For so long, I blamed my dad for my anger issues. I blamed strangers in the past for the fact that I got annoyed easily, or the fact that I got angry easily. I blamed girls for my own lust. I blamed everybody else but except myself for all the problems in my life. I have found the enemy. It is I. What have you contributed to your suffering? It does not matter how you started. It does not matter how you were born. It does not matter what your parents did to you in the past. What are you doing right now to change it? Like I said earlier, when you're going through hell, that's not when you say, well, I guess I'd better sit here. You know, I've been here for so long. It's flaming everywhere. I guess I should just sit down and throw in the towel. Keep going. Stand up and continue to walk. Stand up and continue to fight. Stand up and go earn the life that you want. If it was easy, it would not be fun. I hate playing games when they're easy. I think everybody does. Once you get everything done in the game, you got all the powers ups, you're the highest level in the game. That's what the point of prestiging is. You have to give yourself a challenge again. And you loved being a max prestige because that showed you were willing to go through it so many times. All the effort that you put in. Life is a ginormous game. You don't get instant returns. But if you think of life like a game, if you think in the capacity that if God is with us, who can stand against us? Anything he has in plan for you, you can achieve. I mean, we're talking about walking on water. And he said, oh, you of little faith. Walking on water. He told somebody, oh, you of little faith. He told Peter. Keep your eyes on Jesus. When Peter took his eyes off of Jesus, when he focused on the fear, when he focused on everything around, he fell. Which brings us to an example Kanye gave. And he said, fear, it was something about fear. But he gives us this example. And he says, if I threw a board on the ground right now, and I told you to walk across it, and you'll get like $1 million, you would do it instantly. You wouldn't even think about it. You just instantly walk across the board. But if we put the same board, the same scenario, you're going to make $1 million, and we put it on top of 2 skyscrapers, and we put the same exact board, all you have to do is walk across it. That's when the fear sets in. That's when the problem arises. It's the same exact setting, but now there's a different label. Now there's a different capacity for fear. There's a capacity for danger. And then that's when you start overthinking. And that same overthinking is going to be the thing that makes you fall. You just walked across this board. But if we put it in the sky, if there's a possibility of you falling, that's going to make you fail. Which is why you can't focus on the bad in life. You cannot focus on your past. That is becoming born again. No, I did those things in the past, but I cannot continue to do those things in the future. And if I pull them along with me, if I constantly remind myself of them, if I constantly allow my brain to think about them, I am bringing them along with me in the future, and that's continuing to perpetuate it. If you continue to bring on the trauma that has been about upon you in your past, you're going to you quite literally, your brain cannot tell the difference between something that has actually happened and something that you are imagining with emotion. Think about your fears. You can imagine them with such precise detail. You start to feel it. You start to feel it. That's because your body is actually going through it. When you think about your past and you cringe, you're actually cringing because your body just thinks you actually just went through that. And the same thing for sexual desires. You can imagine something sexual very, very easily. You can perfectly imagine a naked body and doing all of this stuff that you should not be doing, and you could do it very easily. That is you wasting your essence. You're wasting your ability to do that. But that's a whole nother topic. But just imagine that. You're actually doing that. That's why Jesus said, if you even look at a woman with lust, you committed adultery in your heart. You actually did it. Your body actually thinks you did it because your body can't tell the difference. So if you're constantly bringing along your trauma with you, you're constantly forcing yourself to go through the same exact trauma over and over and over and over and over again. Why do I have all this anxiety? You're bringing it along. Why do I have this depression? You're bringing it along. There is nothing wrong with failing. There is nothing wrong with being depressed. There is nothing wrong with being anxious. There is nothing wrong with being sad. But there is something wrong with you forcing yourself to be. There is something wrong with you sitting down and you throwing in the towel and you giving up on your life and you blaming everybody else. You blame the economy, you blame your friends, you blame your parents, you blame your past, you blame your ex. When is the blame going to go on you? Because eventually it has to get a little bit on you. There's nothing wrong with your past. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake, but you cannot continue to pull it along with you. It is your responsibility. I don't care if you said, I didn't even want to be born. Who cares? You're still making it like it's not your fault. Not that it's not your fault. You're still putting the responsibility onto somebody else when you say that. Well, I didn't ask to be born. You are. We play with the cards we are dealt. You got dealt this hand, now play. Fortnite analogy. When you have bad loot, you still go for the win. You don't care about the gold scar. You don't care about the gold RPG. You don't care about the chug jug. You say, I have this loot, and I'm going to go for the win because I want to win. You don't sit there and complain that you got bad loot. You just go for the win. That's what you need to do in every single facet of your life. Go for the win. If God is with us, who can stand against us? You cannot focus on the bad. Even if you focus on not focusing about the bad, you're still focusing about the bad. Even if you focus, how do I not fail? How do I not lose? How do I not get rejected? You're still focusing on losing, failing, and getting rejected. You just need to focus on the win. Instead of saying, how do I not get rejected? You say, what am I going to do once I win? You're still thinking about the win instead of the rejection. When you think about what's going to happen in the future and you start thinking about, well, I don't want this to work. Well, what if this doesn't work? You're thinking about it. And especially if you're feeling emotion with that, you are literally like forcing yourself to go through these unlimited failures in your head. You have to let it go. And that comes down to you taming your own brain to an extent. When I am feeling very anxious for the future, I ask God, I literally pray. People keep on asking me, how do you just give it to God? You literally pray, and you have to actually want to give it up. You actually have to say, please, Jesus, take my depression away from me. But just keep in mind, if he takes the depression away from you, that means you no longer have that for an excuse for the reason your assignments are piled up, or your room is a mess, or your hygiene is a mess. You can't use that excuse anymore. You actually have to want to be healed, which means you have to take on more responsibility, which is a good thing. If you take more responsibility, you also get more freedom. You also can do more things in your life. Like when you're growing up, think about all the responsibility you wanted when you were a kid. You wanted to drive, you wanted to go places by yourself, you wanted to have your own money, you wanted to have your own boyfriend or girlfriend. You wanted all of this. You wanted to move out. But then now once it's arised, you're crying about it. Why should we feel anger at the world as if the world would notice? Don't feel anger at anything. Don't even feel anger for yourself. Paul said, I don't even judge myself. We're not even good enough to judge ourselves because we judge incorrectly. We judge unjustly. Our emotions are fleeting every single day. You're never going to be happy all the time. You're never going to be sad all the time. This too shall pass. Every single thing. Don't even judge yourself. You just look on the past and you say, if I'm born again through Christ who saves me, that's not me anymore. That person is dead. Look at your life. What have you been dragging along with you? All you have to do is go to God and say, please help me from this. Please give me strength. Yeah, what I was saying. If I have depression or anxiety or sadness at times, I just ask for help. I just say, please give me strength, Jesus. I cannot do it on myself. He says he is near to the brokenhearted. So cast your burden upon me. That is you casting your burden upon him. Because a lot of you guys have been carrying along these burdens for 20 years, and he is a healer who will set you free. He did not come to condemn you, but to save you. That means anything you have done in the past, he's not here to sit and judge you. He's here to save you from yourself, essentially. From your past, essentially. But you have to be willing to give it up. And like I said with the depression, if you are willing to give it up, here, we'll use mine. I told everybody in my life, I told all you guys, I told myself, I wanted to be done with lust. But up until recently in John 5, when Jesus goes to the man who's been crippled his whole entire life and asks him, do you want to be made well? Did God finally allow me to see with eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart to receive the message? I did not want to get healed from the lust. Because much like the depression, you take on more responsibility. With the lust, that means I have to stop dressing as lustfully. That means I have to unfollow more people. That means I have to turn on movies if they're getting lustfully. That means I have to stop watching things because I know they're going to be lustful. You know, you're stacking on more responsibility if you want to be made well. That man who laid there for 35 years, when God made him well, that means he could no longer lay there. That means he went and got more responsibility. You know what he did? He jumped around for joy. That's what you should be doing. You should be saying, please, Jesus, heal me, and jump around for joy. You got all that responsibility now. You got life endowed upon you. You can go spread that life out now. You can go spread that love out now. So he gets glorified. But you have to want to be made well. You have to be willing to take on that responsibility. And even if you don't really feel like it at times, you have to know that he will give you the ability and the strength to be able to endure. Thank you all again for watching. God bless you guys and love you.